Breaking news, President Donald Trump says he is working to cut off billions of dollars in federal funding to 3 states, Minnesota, California, and Illinois. The statement is drawing nationwide attention and immediate political reaction. In remarks now circulating widely, the president said, "We are not going to pay it anymore. We are not going to pay them, and we are not going to pay California, and we are not going to pay Illinois, the big slob of a governor they have." The comment has triggered strong responses from supporters and critics, and raised major questions about how federal funding to states works and whether a president can legally block it. Here's what we know. Federal funding to states supports many large programs, including highways and transportation projects, Medicaid and healthcare support, education grants, emergency response, and public safety initiatives. Each year, states receive billions through formulas and grant programs approved by Congress and distributed by federal agencies. Budget experts say most of this funding is controlled by laws passed by Congress. That means any long-term cutoff would usually require legislative action or face legal challenges if attempted through executive action alone. Supporters of the president's position say federal money can be used as leverage when states oppose national policy priorities. They argue that Washington should have tools to pressure state governments they believe are not cooperating on key issues. Backers also say strong language signals seriousness and negotiating strength. Critics argue that once Congress approves funding, the executive branch cannot simply refuse to send it. Legal scholars say courts have often limited attempts by administrations of both parties to withhold authorized funds. They expect that any broad funding cutoff effort would quickly be challenged in federal court. Officials and political figures connected to the states mentioned are expected to strongly oppose any attempt to block funding. In past disputes involving federal funding threats, states have argued that their residents pay federal taxes and are entitled to federally approved support programs. Policy analysts warn that funding uncertainty can disrupt long-term planning for infrastructure, healthcare systems, and education programs. Even the threat of funding cuts can create budget complications at the state and local level. From a political standpoint, statements like this often energize supporters while increasing opposition criticism. Campaign strategists say tough funding stances are frequently used to show firmness and contrast policy differences between federal and state leadership. Communication experts also note that forceful wording, especially personal insults directed at state leaders, tends to intensify media coverage and public reaction. Economists say that even if a funding cutoff were attempted, actual financial impacts would likely take time to develop due to court reviews and administrative procedures. Major funding streams rarely stop immediately without extended legal and bureaucratic processes. At this stage, analysts say the key factor will be whether a formal executive or legislative action follows the statement. Without official orders or enacted policy, funding structures remain unchanged. We will continue to monitor any formal moves, legal filings, or congressional responses tied to this issue. Public reaction is growing online and across political platforms, and the debate is continuing. Do you support this proposed funding cutoff approach? Yes or no?